Good morning, everyone, and welcome to TCA. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Christian. Happy June.
Happy June. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend and got some well-needed rest and relaxation. So it's a gorgeous start to June here at Weinig Holz-Her USA. We are live as we are every week.
We are live, and we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and that's it.
Yep.
Right. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where you will get updates on all of the new content that Christian and his team have been adding up there for Answers for the Tool Room, Meet the Team, all the different videos that we're doing there.
And we, like Andy said, we're live right now on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching, drop us a line, put it in the comments, let us know where you're from, give us a little shout out. And we got all kinds of good stuff to go over with y'all today.
A lot going on this week.
Yeah.
We're having our first in-person meeting. That's exciting.
Yeah, we have folks coming in. I mean, we've been doing obviously customer demos in person.
But as far as having a sales meeting, and this isn't this is our agent council that we put together last year, and this is the first non-virtual agent council meeting that we will have had, and that's big news.
It's good that we're coming together in person, face to face. So that's exciting. So today, listen, so this morning we're going to go over a few things. We're going to go over a little bit more stuff about AWFS, even though the last three TCAs we have talked about the show in July and what to expect there. So if you want a more in-depth view of AWFS and our involvement in it, go back and watch the last three TCAs.
Especially last week, right, where we actually heard it from the show. Angelo Gangone was on. Right. And gave us a little bit of an update and some breaking news that as of today, right, or was it this week sometime, that Vegas would be completely open other than riding on the monorail. Right. Essentially, any public transportation, they're gonna enforce mask wearing, but other than that, casinos and hotels and shows and everything, and of course the convention center, all will be at 100% occupancy as of this week. That's right.
So we'll go over AWFS a little bit more. We also will talk about the market and what that means for the woodworking industry. A lot of good stuff still happening in the housing market, and then we'll wrap it up by talking about a few things that are new here at Weinig Holz-Her USA. There's always stuff going on here, Andy. I mean, always stuff going on in the showroom. Like Andy said, today we have some of our top agents coming in from all over the country to strategize with us and to brainstorm about Weinig's new technology. So anyway, let's start off with AWFS. Right. So as Andy mentioned last week, we got to talk to Angelo, who is, I might get this wrong, the executive vice president of AWFS. Yes. Yeah. And Angelo was so generous to share some of his time and talk to us about what attendees can expect when they come to the show.
Yeah, it was a good discussion. It was it was interesting because a lot of stuff has happened over the last 14 days, right? I mean, really a lot has happened. And it has come this year since January. He said that in January was the first time that they started to actually waver a bit and thought, is this really going to happen? Because the number of COVID cases continued to skyrocket at the time, and that was the one point when they thought, oh man, maybe we're not going to be able to do this year. Of course, then you get the news that Ligna had first postponed until September and then canceled. Yep. And so it was I'm sure it was a stressful time, but they did officially announce 2 weeks ago that they were going to move forward with it because they were going to be able to have the show. Our industry would be able to have the show. There could have been some restrictions in place because at the time, hotels, casinos were at 80% occupancy, and they thought they might limit the number of people in the booth, that you would have to wear a mask to the booth, things like that. But last week was when he got the news, right before we had the interview, he got the news that they were going to be 100% open starting today. Open.
Yeah, which is exciting. It's great to hear. And all of us here at Weinig Holz-Her USA, we are all looking forward to the show. It'll be great to see customers, to meet new folks in person, to be able to show off some of our new technology that we have not been able to show for over a year now. So that's one thing that we're really featuring and focusing on at this show in July is new products. So what was it, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we did a TCA where we went through all the new technology that will be in our booth. And I'm not going to rehash that, but just a couple things real quick that we're excited about. So the new ProfiMat 50 will be at the booth. It is a great, it's the new ProfiMat molder from Weinig. It's a great little machine.
A bit of an unveiling, because that will be the first show that machine has been shown at.
That's right. So a couple other unveilings. The Holz-Her Epicon will be at the show. So that's a very exciting new pod and rail CNC machine that Holz-Her has just come out with, I believe, last year. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So also very exciting. We'll have some new edge banding technology, including a return conveyor that we actually manufacture here in the U.S.
Correct. Yeah, we're really excited about that. We have a few of those running now in the market and getting a lot of good feedback. So we're going to again unveil that at the show in Vegas.
So anyway, lots of new technology at the show. It'll be a great time. Like I said, the last 3 TCAs we've talked about AWFS. Go back and watch them if you haven't. And just so you can kind of get a good idea of what to expect when you come to our booth. The other thing is that you can expect us to have a little bit of fun.
We're going to try.
We're going to try to have a little bit of fun at the show. You know what? It's almost, I've been thinking about this, Andy, and it's not just a show where you go and you set up machinery and you run demonstrations and you talk to people and you try to show off what's new and all that stuff. It's also, it has an element of celebration to it as well, because we've been away from each other for so long. And in fact, last year, even though the market was busy, we had a very different way of doing business. It was not that face-to-face dynamic, and we all missed that, and we believe that our customers missed that as well. And so hopefully this show will also act as a celebration, in addition to having all the benefits of the
our
show.
industry. There are industries that had already transitioned to more of the virtual meetings, right? A lot of your technology companies, they had an office, but even here locally in the Charlotte region, the big banks that are all headquartered here locally, they had rules in place where you had to go to the office once a month to keep a desk, but for the most part they were 99% remote already. So there were other industries that this really didn't slow them down that much. It wasn't so much different, except they weren't able to go in and see their coworkers once a month like they were doing before. But for our industry is an incredibly social industry. We expect to shake hands. We expect to sit across the table to discuss whatever's going on with machinery or what the industry as a whole. We expect to be able to talk face to face. So it was a bit of a shift. It was quite the pivot that we talked about a lot last year.
We're a very tangible industry, right? So we need to be there in person to see the application, to see the products coming off the machine, to see the knife marks on a piece of wood or the cut radius on a panel. We need to see that stuff. Or
the glue line of edge banding.
Right,
all of these things, especially when we're talking about trying to get to a zero edge on edge banding. It's hard to see that in a camera. From 1,000 miles away.
That's right. So,
but we did persevere.
We did.
We overcame.
We are very excited about the Vegas show.
Yeah, and we're going to take some of the things that we've learned and actually bring that to hopefully give more experience to those who aren't going to be at the show. Right. We'll use some of that that digital, that virtual technology to be able to bring some of the show to you guys that maybe aren't ready to travel, or maybe wouldn't have gone to the Vegas show anyway. We're going to try to give you that experience just like here.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll be live streaming at the show. We're excited about that. So that's AWFS. Again, we're live this morning. You're watching TCA. and we
drop in some comments if you'd like.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're watching from.
Yeah, tell us where you're watching from, and if you're watching on YouTube, that's awesome. Drop us a comment there. We usually have a good amount of people on Facebook, but our YouTube channel is starting to gain some traction. So if you're watching on Facebook, go over to YouTube later after you're done watching. Subscribe to our channel. All right. So yeah. All right. So next topic for this morning is what's going on in the housing industry. So, right. Andy, why don't you kind of give us a rundown here?
Well, and first we specifically talk about the housing industry because we're so tied closely to it, right? I mean, all of the things that go into homes, for the most part, if they're wooden parts, they touch some of our machinery, they touch our segment of the industry in some way. So we've been following it, and as we've been following it, last year I started to do a lot of research. I was reading a lot of articles from places like CNBC, but also Realtor.com, Zillow, all of these places that we would normally look for to find out what's going on in the housing market. But then later in the year, because housing was such a big part of our economy in the United States, not just is the what is it like for our industry, and that we're tied so closely to it, but it became a big part of what was happening just in our economy as a whole. And so Kiplinger, the website that I started following, they just track trends that relate to GDP in general. They give updates on things that are affecting the GDP in the United States. And so they started showing up, our industry started showing up more in their articles. And even as recently as last week, they were putting up articles again tied directly to the housing industry. And so the interesting thing, they have kind of an unbiased approach at looking at things, which is good. I certainly like to be optimistic, if you guys know that, but I'm also self-aware that I'm overly optimistic. So when you get some very neutral news about the industry, it's good to put that perspective in as well. So Kiplinger, as of last week, is saying that new housing starts are actually down. Now, before we get too concerned with that, I'll explain a little bit more about that. But to break that down, multifamily are slightly up, almost 1%. This is just as of right now. Single family are down 13% though. Now the reason that they're saying this, and a little bit of some bright side to this, is that permits are holding strong. It said that the permits are actually up a little bit as far as the contractors pulling permits to be able to start new projects. But they are delaying some of those projects because of, we all know, lumber prices are up.
Rising costs.
Rising costs. Yep. So a lot of the contractors, a lot of the big builders that are starting these new projects with multiple single family homes, they're holding off breaking ground on those projects because they're waiting a little bit for those prices to come down. So that has slowed it down. Now we're still seeing some strong starts. We're just not at that 1.5 million starts per month like we would like to see. 1.5 million, more than that would be a good indicator. We're certainly below that right now. However, there's a lot of things that are playing into that. The lumber prices are playing into that. The reason that they do want to start is because our inventory is low for existing homes. So that inventory being low is driving prices up.
Right.
The one thing that's not going up, though, we talked a little bit about this earlier, is interest rates. Interest rates are still low. So even though the cost of your project might be up right now, interest rates, the average interest rate right now, or 2 days ago, I think is when I pulled this, is 2.95%. So still incredibly low to get a mortgage. So that isn't the factor that's slowing things down. It's that the costs of materials have gone up so much. And then because of that, we have low inventory. Low inventory is also contributed to by the amount of homes that are in forbearance. We talked a little bit about that, which is they have been not forgiven the loan, but they've been allowed to not make mortgage payments during this time of COVID. All of that's going to start to build up, and that will release. And unfortunately, the reason that our inventory situation is going to improve towards the end of the year is because a lot of those houses that are in forbearance will go into foreclosure. Mm-hmm. But what that's going to do, there'll be a little bit of a trickle down is maybe not the right word, but when that happens, our inventory levels get more stable.
Right.
Prices now come down because there's not such a surge for people to rush to get a new home built because they can buy existing homes. it'll be this this domino effect, I guess is a good way to put it, where things will start to get back to normal. The one thing that is unknown is when is the real forbearance going to end, and will interest rates change?
And when?
Yeah.
And when will those rates start to taper back up?
So a lot going on. Our industry, you can pull information, and day by day, there are lots of predictions, and there's still a lot of uncertainty, because the one thing that's uncertain is how long will the forgiveness be in place.
Right. Yep, absolutely. As Andy said, all of this has to do with our industry, just because the shops, the fabricators, what they're making directly impacts and is directly impacted by home construction, home remodeling, and building materials as a whole. And that's been, and I honestly cannot remember, maybe the crash of '08, but I can't remember when our industry has had so much national attention as right now, with what's happening as the cost of materials is just going sky high right now. How new homes are getting put up in record numbers, and how existing homes are the price of them.
Yeah, existing homes, we've seen the price increase. The value has increased by 20%.
Yeah.
20%, and that's looking at it since the beginning of all of this, more than a year ago now. But the vast majority of that, they were showing that rates or the values were going up, but it's only been in the last couple of months that it's really gone from being maybe 5-10% to almost doubling that, to where we're 20% higher now.
Yeah. So we want to hear from you. How has that affected your business? How has either the cost of materials affected your production? Have you been able to get the materials that you need in order to make your products? We want to know. Let us know. Reach out to your Weinig Holz-Her rep and let them know. We're interested in that. So that's that's the industry, and
we would love to, back to a little bit of AWFS when we're bringing those live streams. If you've been affected in a way that you wouldn't have thought you had been affected, we've been doing the TCAs on site and talking with our customers across the country to learn more about how they have pivoted or how they haven't pivoted, depending on the market and where they've been. We'd like to know more about that, and we may not. Who knows, maybe we'll find us a place to do an on-site before the show, but there's a high likelihood that we won't have an on-site before the show. So let's try to, I'd love to interview as many of you guys out there as we can during the show.
Absolutely.
Just to find out, get your thoughts on the show, what it's like, coming together for the first time in a while. Also to get your insights on what you've seen in your local markets, and what maybe your predictions might be for the coming months or years in your local markets or the national markets. It'd be a great place, a great forum to have that discussion, and it'd be great discussions. I think a lot of people would be interested to know about it.
So we're going to go into some news about Weinig Holz-Her right now, but before we do, Andy, it's kind of a sleepy Tuesday online, to be honest with you. Not a ton of people live, but do need to give a shout out to our good friend Marcus, who's watching us from TBB.
Oh, okay.
Who said hello via YouTube. So Marcus, good to see you, and can't wait until you get to travel back here again.
Yeah,
it's been well over a year.
Hopefully late fall, maybe early, somewhere in fourth quarter. We're hoping to see Marcus back over here.
Come on. Yeah.
Things are opening up. I think some of our partners from overseas might be coming to the show from a couple of different places around the world. So
yes,
it's starting to open up a little bit.
There will be a very minimal international presence at the show, but I think there will be some international folks at the AWFS show. So
Sheffield is saying good morning on Facebook.
Okay.
Good morning, Lynn.
There you go. So a few things happening this week at Weinig Holz-Her USA. So we're at the short week. We have Memorial Day yesterday, and this really kind of every other year Memorial Day weekend really starts the blitz to the show. And so that's what's going to be happening here.
What's the unofficial start of summer, right?
Right, it's the unofficial start of summer, and when you're in this industry and you have a big trade show each summer, that just means it's the start of a whole lot of work. So we're going to be getting our machines ready, getting things in order, making sure that everything is set, both staffing-wise, machine-wise, logistics-wise, for the Vegas show, and that's going to be happening from now until the show. Now that also means, real quick, and I should point this out, that also means that there will probably be a few Tuesdays that we're not live, but we'll try to do some type of pre-recorded alternative for you guys each Tuesday until the show. Yeah, as Andy mentioned in the beginning of our TCA this morning, we're also really pleased that we're able to have one of our first in-person sales meetings. That's going to be just a great strategy session for how to better our technology and better bring our technology to our customers. And that's going to be and that's starting today and goes until tomorrow. So we'll have folks in here from all over the US, and we're very excited to do that again because it's one of the first times we're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be perfect if we could have people from all over North America, because there are some people that are a part of this. But so just like in Vegas, we're going to use some virtual technology. For this meeting, we will have to also incorporate virtual technology so we can get our guys north of the border, a couple of guys out there that were unable to make the trip. So we will have a virtual aspect to this as well.
That's right. That's right. We have some demos this week in our showroom. So again, if you're watching and you're interested in either a virtual or an in-person demo in our showroom here in Mooresville, North Carolina, let us know. A couple things about that, and I want to, I'll just take this stage to plug the showrooms, plural, because Andy, a lot of times we talk about the showroom that's in back of us here, and this is just part of it that you guys can see. There's a whole nother part that way. We talk a lot about our showroom here in Mooresville, North Carolina, but I think what some folks don't realize is that we also have a showroom in Anaheim, and our agent network has showrooms all across the U.S.
Yeah, well, if they watch the Retool Tour, they got a taste of that, right?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
There are showrooms in Miami. There are showroom here, of course. There's a showroom in Grand Rapids. There's a showroom in just outside of Salt Lake in West Jordan, Utah. Yeah. And then the one in Anaheim.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different showrooms. So if you're somewhere and you think that traveling to Mooresville is just not going to happen, and you want to do an in-person demo, still don't let that deter you from talk to your local Weinig Holz-Her rep. They'll set you up with some type of a demo that is convenient to you. And we have set up these showrooms across the U.S. for that very purpose. That's why they exist. So, so this week we do have some demos here in the Mooresville showroom, and we have some customers coming in-person demos, which is great also to see. We've been doing more and more of those this year. Last year we became impromptu pros at the virtual machine demonstration, but this year we have seen a return to people traveling, coming. They like what we talked about earlier. They want to be able to see that glue joint up close. They want to be able to feel that finish on the wood.
That finish when it comes through the molder.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's happening too. So that's our week at Weinig Holz-Her USA, and then we'll be back next Tuesday at 9 a.m. for another TCA.
I'll probably be I could be on an airplane that day, I think, or I could be traveling that day, but Christian will be with you. and maybe I'll call in, maybe I'll phone it in.
Could you? That would be great. Awesome. So, yep. So we, and a couple more shout outs. Our pal from Long Beach says, good morning on YouTube, Mr. Bodo.
Bodo has shifted. He's pivoted. He used to watch on Facebook. Now he's watching on YouTube.
There you go.
Good morning, Bodo. Hope the sun is shining.
So great to see everybody online this morning. Guys, remember, if you have questions about the show, if you need an online demo or an in-person demo for a machine, or if you want to be on TCA, if you want TCA to come to you, or you want to just be on TCA in Vegas, let us know. Get in touch with your local Weinig Holz-Her rep, and let them know that you've seen us online and you want to get involved. You want to join the conversation, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are absolutely interested in doing more TCAs on site, on location. So if you've got something you'd like to show off, show the industry, you're proud of what you've done, something that would be interesting, let us know. We'll come show it off, but also to show our industry what's possible.
All right, all. So for all of us here at Weinig Holz-Her USA, we hope that you stay positive, stay healthy, and stay productive, and we'll see you next week.
All right, very good.